Mickey Spagnola, longtime writer, columnist, analyst, Cowboys, DallasCowboys.com, with us on Sick'em 365 Radio. All right, Mickey, they've made some moves. They got to make a lot of these, like, guys coming off COVID or coming off this or whatever. Are they got a lot of, like, moving parts right now before they have their 53, correct?
It's closer after today, David. They made several moves to get three of the guys off COVID reserve back in practice today: CeeDee Lamb, DeMonte KZ, and Carlos Watkins. Now, to do that, they had a bunch of guys nursing injuries, but they had to remain on the 53-man roster for 24 hours before they could put them on injured reserve designated to return, which means you can put them on IR, but they only have to miss 3 games. So today they moved Neville Gallimore, Sean McKeon, Josh Ball, Kelvin Joseph, Malik Turner, and Francis Bernard to that IR designation to make room for the 3 COVID guys. And also, since they claimed quarterback Will Greer and signed running back Corey Clement. So they're right about at 53 right now. The practice squad, I think, has room for one more person. And then the only thing they'll have to do is probably make one roster move. I think they're anticipating by Sunday Connor Williams will come off the COVID list, and he'll be ready to go when they start their first real day of practice getting ready for Tampa.
Yeah, don't they have to bring the punter back too, Mickey? Was that one of their moves that they, Yes, they still got to bring the punter back. That's right. Yeah. They did bring the deep snapper back, McQuaid. So he was one of the moves that came back into practice. And it's funny you said that, because I don't know if this was a tongue-in-cheek type satire story, but somebody wrote on a website that the Detroit Lions have decided to go without any kickers because they released their kicker and punter, and so they'll always go for it on 4th down and 2-point conversions after a touchdown. Because they did the same thing the Cowboys did, put these guys, release them for a day or so they can put these other guys on IR. So somebody either got duped or it was a real satire type story and trying to make a joke.
So, Mickey, Mike McCarthy shot down the notion of Cam Newton as a backup quarterback, huh?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, if he fits in as a backup quarterback, why didn't the Patriots keep him?
Right.
And then, I saw the headline on NFL.com that the Cowboys passed on bringing in Cam Newton. Well, 30 other teams did too. I haven't seen him signed yet. And look, does he want to be a backup quarterback? Or is he going to hold out and look for a place where he can step in and start in case there's an injury, right?
Right.
And no one will say this, right? But they may think it, and I'm not saying they are around the league. But you've got an unvaccinated quarterback. You want him in your quarterback room? Because the quarterbacks, it's a pretty sparse group, right? And say somebody tests and somebody gets close contact and now you're down to one quarterback or two, I would think that's in the back of some teams' minds.
Well, look what happened in Minnesota already in camp. Mickey, they had to go sign people just to get through their first preseason game.
Right, exactly. And now look what's happened with the Colts, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the last GM that came out and basically said, no, that's going to be part of our decisions. And I know the NFLPA may want to come down on them, but, the guy was just speaking the truth because the last thing you can afford, especially in the quarterback room, is an outbreak.
Mickey, did Cooper Rush surprise you?
I don't know surprise. I think he was just somewhat consistent, which, I think everybody forgets, Paul. For 2.5 years, he was the Cowboys' backup quarterback. He just didn't have to play. Dak was always healthy. And then when they got to the point where the sweetheart deal of Andy Dalton fell in their lap, they moved on from him. The Giants picked him up and then let him go, and the Cowboys brought him back last year on the practice squad. So I think his performance against Houston kind of encouraged him. And if you kind of read between the lines on what people said after the game, it's like he put himself back in the competition. And I think they just felt, I don't know, a familiarity with him, that he'd been here, he had been in the system. I think they saw what Garrett Gilbert is, and they had a pretty good idea of that. I think they just felt more comfortable with Cooper Rush. And familiarity with a quarterback, I think, goes a long way. Think about it. Think what happened in Carolina for Will Greer to get released, and the Cowboys claimed him. P.J. Walker ended up their backup quarterback last year and was going to win the job against this year. Well, guess what? P.J. Walker played for Matt Rule when he was at Temple. So there was a familiarity there. Now, why did the Cowboys claim Will Greer? Well, they had a good draft grade on him, but also quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier was his offensive coordinator at Florida when he started 6 games there before he got suspended for PEDs, taking something over-the-counter supplement that had an ingredient in there that was banned. So familiarity sometimes rules the roost in some of these quarterback decisions.
Mickey, was there anything that happened in the NFL? I mean, Craig brought up Cam Newton, but was there anything else in the NFL? I mentioned to you last week that I thought them trimming their roster or some of the cuts was kind of boring, that it seemed like pretty much it's who you thought. There weren't a lot of surprises. Was there anything around the league that maybe caught your attention the most?
I don't know, David, because in this day and age with the salary cap, I mean, the money, you follow the money and it almost makes decisions for you unless a guy just bombs out, right? And then the fact that you have a 16-man practice squad and you can put as many as 4 vested veterans on it. So like the Cowboys did with Darian Thompson, it was like, well, yeah, he's a good special teams guy, but they had so many other young guys they wanted to keep, so they cut him. He gets through waivers, and they put him on the practice squad. And remember, like last year, you can call up 2 guys from the practice squad for game day and then put them back on the practice squad after they play. So, yeah, I think I think there's fewer and fewer of those deals that you go, oh, gosh, look what happened there. And I'm not sure anything really it's kind of stuck out to me, like a big name player, other than maybe somebody deciding to retire or somebody was injured. But yeah, I think those days may have passed us.
I don't know.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. Mickey, and you're right about follow the money or whatever, but I forgot. I read this, and I wish I had it in front of me. When you release somebody that is vested, how does that affect them coming back or practice squad? Or I'm trying to think. It was about, part of it was the Cowboys roster. There's something. What am I?
Yeah. So if you got 4 years in, and you get released at this point, you're not subjected to waivers.
There you go.
You're a free agent.
There you go.
So you can decide where you want to go. So that's why teams release a kicker, because at this point, you got your kicker, right? You're probably not changing, and you tell your kicker, okay, here's what we're doing. You're going to get released for 24 hours. When I put this guy on injured reserve designated to return to open up a roster spot, because those guys have to be on the 53 for 24 hours, we will re-sign you for exactly what you made. And sometimes they might say, hey, we'll give you $10,000 to go out on the town for doing us a favor. And so that's what you see going on around the league. Now, if you're less than a vested veteran, then you're subject to waiver claims. Any team can pick you up if they claim you, and the team in the highest order of the claiming order gets you. So, and that stays in point until maybe a month into the season before the record decides the claiming order. But those guys are subject to be claimed, and if you claim them, then you got to claim the whatever the salary is too. When with these other guys, if you pick up somebody that got released and another team wants your guy, he can negotiate a salary with that guy. Although the thing is, you guys, these guys that, you know, they're probably not driving a hard bargain on September 2nd if they're out of work. You know, they'll just be glad to go somewhere.
Mickey, thank you very much. I'll have him on again every Thursday. Mickey Spagnola with us forever on Sikkim 365 Radio and also 365 Sports on YouTube.
Next Thursday, live from Raymond James.
That's right. They open up the season against the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When we come back, Craig Smokes off the radar.